Here.
Councilmember Fisickelli?
Here.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Here.
Vice Mayor Brightcrus?
Here.
Mayor McKay?
Here. If everybody stand for the pledge, please. Well, it's a pleasure to see everybody. I'm glad everybody's safe and sound. I think we dodged a bullet. And
Check
I'm going to let us, who am I going to pass this to? You first, Andy?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome you all to the next phase in the budgeting process that began back in February. As part of our public hearings back in July, we set our preliminary, met our preliminary trim notice requirements. We had I'll say a very productive budget workshop in August. And so there were numerous trims that were made to the budget that had originally been proposed to you. Tonight's presentation for first hearing incorporates those changes as council has requested. And so tonight will be done in actually 4 parts. The first will be the fire assessment. So we'll go through that, and what we'll do is Marty has a presentation. He'll go through. Mayor, if it's okay with you, I'd suggest you open it up to public comment at that point, and then council deliberation, take an action on that, and then we'll do the solid waste, millage, and the budget in that order, if that's all right with you. We'll move through it at that point. The fire assessment fee and the solid waste fee will be done tonight. The millage rate and the budget will come back to you again for second reading at the end of the month. So if you have any questions on the process, otherwise I'll just turn it over to Marty and we'll get started. I will say we're having some network issues because Comcast is down and it's created a problem in getting the PowerPoint, but there are extra copies of the PowerPoint that Marty's going to refer to on the podium for any residents who would like to pick one up. And if you're okay with that, then Mayor, I'll turn it over to Marty to get started.
Go right ahead. Marty, you're up to bat.
Okay, perfect timing. On the screen now, we're getting the videos up. Wonderful. Welcome. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, general public. Welcome to our first post-Hurricane Irma public hearing tonight. Tonight we're going to be covering the final fire assessment rate adoption, the final solid waste assessment rate adoption, our tentative first public hearing, millage adoption, and finally we'll move at the final stage to our tentative budget adoption. Our next slide is a photo of our town council members and town administration. The summary of our fiscal year 2017-18 proposed rates and fees compared to our adopted fiscal year 16-17 are lined up in order. Left side is our adopted fiscal year 17 rate. Our right side is our proposed fiscal year 18 rate and fee. We'll first be covering our fire assessment. For the 18 proposed, there's a $70.36 increase, which is approximately 16% per residential dwelling unit change from fiscal year 2017. Our solid waste will have a $65.79 or greater, with an overall average of approximately 25% increase throughout all residential parcel lot sizes. Our operating millage, you will see a slight increase from the 4.0579 to 4.1017. Our TISDA has a slight decrease from 0.4050 to 0.3612. As compared from year to year, per council direction from the budget workshop, we're staying level at 4.4629 from current year to what is proposed for fiscal year 2018. Town Clerk, I'd like to move now to the fire assessment rate, and please read in the resolution.
This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving the final fire services assessment relating to the provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs in the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, for fiscal year 2017-2018, commencing October 1st, 2017, providing purpose and definitions, providing for the imposition and computation of fire protection assessments, incorporating the fire protection assessment report, providing for legislative determination of special benefit and fair apportionment, establishing the rate of assessment, directing the preparation of a final assessment roll, providing for a disabled veterans exemption, authorizing a public hearing, and directing the provision of notice thereof, and providing an effective date.
All right, can we get a motion in a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, now we're going to open up to the public, back to Marty, and then to the public after that.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Moving directly into our fire assessment rates, an introduction is similar to prior years. It's a three-step assessment and methodology, and that is unchanged from the prior year based on our 2012 consultant study. We'll be showing proposed and actual rates with a four-year history by category. And then we have an interesting municipal rate comparison utilizing full cost recovery survey changes. Our background, the assessment is permitted by Florida Statute 166.021 and 166.041 and is adopted by Town Ordinance 2001-09. And our Ordinance 2001-09 requires that the annual rate be established each fiscal year. Our next two slides will show you our four-year history and proposed fiscal year 2018. Our 2018 has an increase to $518.49 for the first slide. That's our residential. Our vacant agricultural is $92.16. The next slide, please, Rich, is our industrial warehouse, commercial, and institutional, with the numbers on the far right showing you what the proposed rates are. For our municipal comparisons, moving towards our municipal comparisons, a number of municipalities actually subsidize their fire protection assessment costs with general fund revenue. Actually, several don't even assess a fire protection assessment and therefore fund 100% from their general fund. Southwest Ranches policy does not subsidize any fire protection costs from its general fund. In the schedule we're going to show you next, of the 25 municipalities surveyed, several were willing to share the percentage of subsidy coming from the general fund. Consequently, the numbers provided for service cost comparisons are not always the actual assessed amount. They have been calculated to capture the cost without general fund subsidy. What you'll note is that municipalities with an unchanged assessment are likely subsidizing operation in the case of a shortfall or retaining their surplus to fund capital projects related to their fire services. Southwest Ranches proposes an increase of 15.7%, which is the $70.36 per residential dwelling unit. We provided the rank. This rank is survey adjusted. You have comparison of the actual from last year with our proposed fiscal year 2018 with our 15.7% increase. And you will note that there are 4 other municipalities that actually have higher percentage rate increases than the town of Southwest Ranches. Those are 2 slides. All municipalities that answered our survey up through 25 Lauderdale by the Sea. For our final fire assessment adoption, that's all I have, Mayor. It's back to you to open it for public discussion. Thank you.
All right. Any public comment on this issue?
Barry Nunzig, 163rd Sterling Road, Southwest Ranches. Any increase in the fire budget should be taken out and reduced by the elimination of the fraudulent, absolutely useless Southwest Ranches Volunteer Fire Department.
No personal attacks, by the way.
That's
Just
not a
heads
personal
up.
attack.
I know, I'm just
If
giving
I
you a
say
heads up
that
ahead of
somebody
time.
is a liar, I am just describing what they are. I am not personally attacking them. If you tell a lie, you are a liar. That's all that there is to it. Now, if Lee Bennett tells lies, you know
We're-
what it makes him. Anyway, here's the
Okay,
deal.
let me stop you right there.
No.
You mention a name one more time, I'm going to have you removed. So
I don't care. Have
attack
me
anyone.
removed, okay? We know what this is. This is just nothing more than you guys protecting your friends. You know it's a useless organization. You know nobody else runs that way. If you ran it anywhere near properly, they would never go on a call. You think Lee Bennett had his fire
We're
engines
talking
go
about
on
the budget here.
on calls when he worked for Broward County? It
We're
didn't
talking
happen.
about the budget.
I know that. I'm trying to give you
Okay.
reasons why you should reduce the budget on that Southwest Ranches Volunteer Fire Department and why there you could save $300,000. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't provide a service at all. Not a single thing. Will not save you. Cannot provide ALS rescue services. Okay? Cannot transport you. It's not certified by the state to provide ALS services. But you guys keep supporting it. You know, as bad as that organization is, you guys keep supporting it. It's wrong. You're just wrong. And it's sad.
Hi, John Eastman, 4801 Southwest 188 Avenue. The volunteer fire department is redundant. Davie provides outstanding service to the town, as you're fully aware. We have 3 stations responding, 6 trucks, 3 squads, 24/7, 365 a year. The volunteers are totally redundant. They have no mission. They've got the wrong truck. They're not certified. They do nothing except expend our tax money, my money, that comes out of my pocket. So we've got an increase in the fire budget this year. I know we signed a new contract with Davie. Everybody gets their raises. Everybody's happy. We got a long 10-year outlook there. Great service from them. I have no complaints with them at all. It is very pricey, though. You know, we're paying some of the most, but we have the best protection in the county. There is not an area of the county that has better fire and rescue than we do in Southwest Ranches. Thank you to Davie. Plus, we have mutual aid right up the road from 2 stations in Weston that are right there. I mean, if there was some major cataclysm, you hit the button and they come. So the per capita, per household cost of the volunteers is not a lot, but it would negate the increase in our fire assessment fee. Also, we're looking at spending a lot more money on them in the future. And they have no clear mission. They do nothing. They're not certified to do anything. Everybody knows that. So I think that there needs to be an adjustment made in their budget to bring it back down to the way it used to be prior to when they were associating with Pembroke Pines. And then we can maybe figure out something that we can actually do with them, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? Seeing no additional public comment. Public comment is closed. Back to us. Go ahead, Steve.
I got to make some comments after that, obviously. First of all, let me say that Lee Bennett I found to be one of the most upright and honest, trustworthy men of integrity that I've known. And it's only because of that that he will has continued to do the job he's done when just baseless insults are hurled at him. And I applaud the fact that he serves our community. I applaud that he has done the work that he's done, and we're fortunate to have him. Aside from that, I need to speak to the comment that the service is redundant and that they have no mission. They are not redundant. I gave a pretty significant presentation at the workshop on exactly why they are not only not redundant, but they're absolutely required. We have a full staff of 5 at the station at Volunteer in Sterling, all Davie, out in, so they can run 2 vehicles at the same time. If they need to, they can take a rescue, they can take an engine. Out west, we do not have that. We have adaptive. response. That means that Davie has to choose between a vehicle. They only have 3 paramedic firefighters out there to respond. 3, not 5. Where does the 5 come from? The 5 comes from the 2 additional volunteers that are out there. Volunteers, maybe a little bit fleeting, they do get a stipend, and I'm upfront about that. But the value and the cost is much lower than the other. It's critical to understand that the majority of our calls are in that part of town. It's also critical to understand that out west, the response time is not good. The response time by NFPA standards should be within 4 minutes. The response times actually out west, in Green Meadows, 54% of the response times are within those 4 minutes. In Rolling Oaks, it's about 47, 48%. Out in country estates out west, 6.2%. 6.2%. So we're talking about taking away fire coverage from an area that already has a critical need out there. It would be unconscionable. How many are double that? 8 minutes plus? In country estates, in Green Meadows, it's about 7%. In Rolling Oaks, it's about 9%. In country estates, it's nearly 21%, is double the standard. So what does the volunteers provide? What they provide is the ability for Davie to get back into service faster and to cover for Davie when they are transporting an individual to one of the local hospitals, wherever that might be. Normally it's Cleveland Clinic, but it may be a further drive than that, depending on the situation. When they're out there, the volunteers are the only ones that are covering out west. When there's a major accident out on US 27, it's the volunteers that allow Davie to go back into service and protect our town, cover that portion of town, while the cleanup is being done out on US 27 or some other place out west. They provide a critical service for us, not only in covering when Davie is out of service, but getting Davie back into service much faster. And so they are critical. The cost to the town is okay, say about $300,000. The cost to be able to duplicate that from Davie is well over $1 million. So the value of them is exceptional, and we are very fortunate to have them, and I very much support them. Thank you.
My turn?
Go right ahead.
Hey, okay. My thoughts on this are simply put, and I'm going to put it in everyday language, it's insurance. We all have car insurance. Some of us have never had an accident in our entire lives, but we pay for the insurance because one day we might. I don't know if my home's going to catch fire. I live in Rolling Oaks tomorrow. I don't know. I want the Calvary. Out west, my wife could have a heart attack. I don't know. It's insurance. That's all it is. And people who say, you don't need insurance, I don't believe that they know what they're talking about, to be real honest with you. I haven't heard, especially when it degrades to personal attacks and things of that nature, it kind of clouds the whole issue, where you can really see that there's a different agenda working here than, dollars and cents and life-saving capabilities and how all that dovetails. So I see a lot of mud in the water right now, and I'm in full support of this as I have been, because we need the coverage out west and we don't have it. Putting it mildly. I'll close with that.
Dee?
I have to agree with both of you. I've known Lee for quite a while now, and I sit up here not as a friend, but as a representative for the town. And if I didn't think they were doing their job, get rid of them. Get somebody else in that can do the job, but he is doing his job. He has reassured me, and I've talked to him several times, that his people are certified. I know for a fact he is. I have listened I know for a fact. I've seen the documentation. And if you don't have documentation and you come up and you stand at this podium and you say, he didn't, he is, he wasn't, he did, he said, he was, and you don't have a piece of paper to show me, you're just wasting my time, is all you're doing. You need documentation. If you can prove that somebody's lying, did you ever get papers? You got nothing. I need the papers. Because I've been reassured. And I know any time that I'm in trouble, I could call them and they'd be there. In a heartbeat. It probably wouldn't even take them 4 minutes to get there. Because I tell them, really hurry, guys. So I'm in full support. I support this completely. And again, just like Gary said, it is extra insurance. And who wants to be without it? Not me. I've had to call the fire department before. I've had to call police and rescue. I've been through that. And when you're sitting on the other end and those people come in a few seconds to help you, that's insurance and that's what you want. That's what I got to say.
Freddie?
Yeah, I ditto everything she just said, because we can't have too much fire protection. I don't know how much it costs us, but everything we pay for, we need. And like I say, is we're never going to have too much. I support the volunteer fire department 100%.
Okay. All right. We're good. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Marty's up to bat again.
Mayor, we can read the reso, get a motion in a second.
Sure. Okay. Russell, if you'd read the reso first.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, relating to the provision of solid waste services, facilities, and programs to residential properties in the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida for fiscal year 2017-2018, commencing October 1st, 2017, providing authority for solid waste services assessments, providing purpose and definitions, providing findings, incorporating the solid waste special assessment methodology report, approving the assessment role, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Marty, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and we're moving into the second part of our final hearing regarding our solid waste rates as proposed for fiscal year 2017-2018. A background for a solid waste garbage assessment is that it is permitted per Florida statute chapters 197.3632, and the annual rate establishment is required by our town ordinance 2002-08. Our proposed rates is on our next slide. You will see the changes from fiscal year 16-17. On this schedule, you will see there are increases, and the increases are differentiate based on your lot square footage. Our column that represents our solid waste cost per unit is fixed throughout all range lot parcel square footage of $250.10, straight down the line. It's the factor involving our bulk waste cost per unit. You will see a change. Thank you for the laser. Okay, here we go. I'm using the laser up and down on our slide. The $250.10 as compared to our bulk waste, which does vary based on our lot parcel size. Now, the solid waste impact from fiscal year 2013 through 2017, the town has seen an overall decrease of approximately 35% to community member collection costs. During the same period, our solid waste service costs elsewhere and to the service provider were increasing. These savings were the result of a now expired contract. After considerable negotiation and extensive bid process, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was awarded a new contract. It calls for increases of approximately 73%. Utilizing a smoothing approach, the residential assessment rate for up to 41,200 square foot would increase approximately 17%, while the assessment rate for the 107,000 lot square foot would increase approximately 34%. The average between all tranches is approximately 25% across the board for the town. Future year increases seem probable to obtain, then remain a fully user-based funded operation in accordance with generally accepted governmental accounting standards. That's all I have, Mayor. Turn it back to you for public hearing and council discussion. Thank you.
All right. If anybody has any public comment to discuss on this matter, please come up.
Hi, John Eastman, 188th Avenue. Broward County makes a lot of money off their landfill operations, a lot, and they're always raising their rates. So, you know, the haulers have to pay the tear when they go across the scales, and I can understand why the cost of it goes up. And I'm just speaking about the bulk portion. As far as the garbage goes, we have separate recycling. I think maybe the following year we should look at maybe eliminating that and maybe set up some point bins at different locations, you know, aluminum and cardboard and newspaper. Glass has absolutely no value. No one does anything with it, so there's no point, you know, rinsing glass bottles and recycling them because they just go in the landfill anyway. There's zero market for glass, and we're all of us, we waste a lot of time cleaning it up and saving it. So I think eliminating the recycling bins probably is the way to go in another year. I know Andy knows these numbers intimately, and he may agree with me on that, but we kind of all think of it's a good thing to do to recycle, and I'm not saying that's bad because, you know, there are values to recycling aluminum and other materials, but if folks want to accumulate the cans in their house and then they can take them to a central collection point and we wouldn't have the service in front of our house, you know, it's one less thing that we could probably save some money on. Other than that, I go along with, you know, the increase. I'm happy about the decrease, and we'll see how this new contractor does. Thank you.
Barry Nunzik, 163rd and Sterling. I'd just like to get some information from the council. There was discussion previously about maybe different garbage cans and stuff. I don't know whatever happened with all that, so if you could just cover that, that'd be nice.
Any other public comment? Seeing no additional public comment is closed. Back to us. D?
I thought we had discussed not changing containers is what it was. I mean, you have all the information, Andy.
Yeah, if I may, residents will be able to continue to use their existing containers.
I also, based on that, because I was asked and I just want to bring it up, we actually get paid for recycling. Not a huge amount of money, but we get paid something. So if residents didn't recycle, it would reduce the payments to the town, and actually your cost for service would increase. Similarly, if you didn't have those recycling bins, which we don't pay for, you know, we get paid for recycling again. If we didn't use those recycling bins, most of that stuff that is supposed to be recycled would go into the household waste, and that would actually increase the weight of the household waste, and our costs would even go up further. So I just want to make sure everyone was clear on the fact that we do generate roughly, Marty, I think it's not a lot, $7,000 a year or so from recycling waste, and that covers that collection.
Anyone else up here have any comment? Call it.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brightcrus,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Okay. Russell, you up for the next one to
Okay.
read, or what?
We're moving right to the tentative millage rate. Town administrator has the detail that needs to be read in accordance with Florida statute.
All right. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to Florida Statute 200.0652E1.
Into the mic a little more.
The first I'll get it, Mark. The first item to be discussed tonight is the percentage increase in millage over the rolled back rate and why. For fiscal year 2017-18, the town of Southwest Ranches, Florida is considering a levy of 4.4629 mils, which is a 6.33% increase over the rolled back rate of 4.1972. This increase results primarily from higher contractual costs pertaining to a new 5-year public safety services contract for both police and fire services, as well as funding for new and/or ongoing capital improvement projects from the proposed budget book. Millage funding for the town's roadway surface refacing and drainage project through the Transportation Surface Drainage Ongoing Rehabilitation Capital Improvement Program, also known as TSDOR, decreased $25,000 to $470,000, or 0.3612 mils. Additionally, this budget provides for the funding of multiple program modifications, including quality of life and service level improvements, public safety, parks, recreation and open space, PROS, and other transportation capital improvements. The millage for operating purposes without the TSDOR project is 4.1017. After numerous advisory board meetings, council discussions, and a budget workshop, the revised budget totals $17,571,147. This includes a general fund budget totaling $12,153,859, just over half of which provides for police, fire protection, and rescue services. A capital projects funds budget totaling $404,515 to not just maintain facilities, but also improve our public safety as well as PROS infrastructure. Special revenue funds budget compromising transportation fund totaling $2,217,374 to maintain as well as improve streets, roadways, and drainage, and a volunteer fire fund totaling $197,771. A debt service fund budget totaling $970,670, which provides for 1 year of principal and interest payments on existing loans. And finally, an enterprise fund comprised of the solid waste, bulk waste, and recycling utilities budget totaling $1,626,958. The millage rate and the budget require 2 public hearings. The initial hearing is tonight, with the final hearing and adoption scheduled for Thursday, September 28th, 2017, at 6 p.m. Thank you, Mayor. And if the clerk can read the reso into the record.
Okay. Russell?
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving and adopting the tentative millage rate for taxation of real property lying within the boundaries of the Town of Southwest Ranches for the 2017 through 2018 fiscal year, commencing October 1st, 2017, and ending September 30th, 2018, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Public comment?
1 second, Mayor. I
Okay,
need to
you
get
got
a
to,
look-
okay, excuse me. Marty's got a
No
presentation.
problem. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. I have a few slides to show. For the introduction of our property tax millage, we're going to provide you a millage comparison for the TSDOR component. That's the 2017 versus the proposed fiscal year 2018. We provided municipal rate comparisons, and then we also provided a nice trend you will see at the end of our Southwest Ranches millage percent to our total direct and overlapping millage. The important thing to note tonight is that the tentative millage proposed reflects a millage and net expenditure reduction of 0.2976 and $387,287 respectively, pursuant to council direction received during our August 22nd, 2017 budget workshop. And all the details for the changes are reflected in our agenda package on page 26 of 40, if you'd like to refer to that tonight. our TISDOR comparison from year to year. For 17 and 18, we got a slight reduction from 495,000 down to 470. And as you will see, reduction means lower millage, 0.3612. Our comparison narrative between municipalities that currently, that's for this fiscal year, the total combined millage that's operating plus our TISDOR is still the 7th lowest combined operating and debt service millage in Broward County. The proposed fiscal year 2018 millage rate, including the TISDOR, does not move the relative position of Southwest Ranches. The relative position of Southwest Ranches among Broward County municipalities remains within the upper 25th percentile, exactly 22.58. 24 municipalities are proposing millage rates that are higher for fiscal year 17 and 18. And our famous screen with municipal comparison. You see we sit right in at number 7, lucky 7 at 4.4629 from year to year. No change in the millage based on council direction and guidance. Drastic differences, moving to the second screen. One proposed, the last two, you have 3 municipalities with millage rates in excess of 9. The Florida statute limit is 10, if anyone was unsure. The max you can go is up to 10. So we're less than half at 4.4629. Our total direct Southwest Ranches operating, including our TISDOR millage at 4.4629, is 24.18%. This is basically for the audience, the residents, and for Comcast Cable. The total bill that you receive, it's important to note, does not all come to the town of Southwest Ranches. Only 24.18% of your total bill that you pay is attributable to the town of Southwest Ranches. And with that in mind, if you look to the far right, because our next slide needs you to refer to the 18.4468. That's our total direct and overlapping millage, including all governmental agencies and authorities, including the school board. Move to the next slide, please, Rich. This is an interesting trend line that we provided. Our combined mill rate history for Southwest Ranches, including all taxing authorities, going back to 2010, you will note a direct reduction from year to year, except for a little blip from 2017. But here's the number I was trying to get you all to reference, the 18.4468. Our 18.4468, as proposed, is less than our current year at 18.4668. So we need to be very proud of that attribute. I'm finished with my presentation on tentative millage, and I'm ready to turn it for public comment and questions, comments, direction, and voting from town council.
All right. Anybody in the public has any questions or discussion related to this matter, please get up and speak.
Getting up was hard. This last couple of days have been stressful. Anyway, at the budget workshop, which I barely remember, I asked you to reduce the budget by 300,000 plus. Not apples and oranges, which is the regular millage rate, and the TISDOR rate. They are two separate, distinct ones. TISDOR should be no more than what it was last year or less, and you have chosen less. The regular millage rate should be no more than what it was last year or less. I would suspect that it would be the same rate. I hope that you have made the cuts that are necessary not to raise the rate, because you have raised the rate, a tax rate, the millage rate, every year for the last several years. It is becoming addictive. It is time to break the habit. Thank you.
Hi, John Eastman again. Question for Marty. The tax collector said that the average value of properties in Broward went up approximately 8%. Now, I know we're residential here, so most of the houses here have homestead, and you don't see an 8% increase in your tax because of the Save Our Homes and that. But how much extra money did the town get this year just based on the increase in real estate values? You have any idea on that number?
Go ahead, you can answer that, Marty, if you know it.
The total taxable value increase was 7.33%, which is in the neighborhood of between 300 to 400,000.
Okay. So we're keeping the mill rate exactly the same, but yet we got that increase in money, right?
That is correct.
So we've actually been able to increase our budget without touching the mill rate, and I applaud you for keeping it the same number. That's great. But we did have an increase, so that's extra money. And values can go down. They may go up again next year. Who knows? But I like what Newell said. We need to keep things the same or less. The TISDOR, we got to pave our roads. If it gets too pricey, we just push it off into the future a little. Don't, do the ones that really need it, and keep patching the ones that don't. But we can't just keep increasing taxes, and we don't really have that many services here in this town. So comparing us to other municipalities that do provide a lot more services is a faulty comparison. So Marty does a good job making it sound good, but it really isn't. But I just encourage you all to keep the taxes the same or less each year, and please try to ease up on the contracts. Make them easier to get more bidders in. I see a lot of contracts because of the complexity and bonding and all this insurance requirements. A lot of people that could come in and give us a good price, they don't even bother. And it drives up the cost of government on everything we do. So we need to look at that and bring those costs down. Thank you.
Anyone else? See no additional public comment. Public comment is closed. Back to the council. Steve, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll make just a couple of comments. I appreciate the comments from the public. I think that one of the, probably the single biggest issue going into this year is that we had our largest contracts having to be renewed this year, both our police and fire as well as the solid waste. So they're both long-term contracts, so now we have more of a steady course moving forward, but this was a real challenge this year maintaining that millage because of those new contracts, and I applaud administration and the council for doing that. And that goes way back to the administration and the legal team and everybody in the negotiation of those contracts, because they were extended negotiations over months and months. And I think we did as well as we could on that, and I appreciate that we've got a good team to do that. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that I agree that our services are not as extensive as some of the other cities that are around us. However, I think it's pretty close. The staff that we have internally works very efficiently and does kind of the guiding and directing, and then that's where the contracts come in, where we obviously contract out for a number of services that we do, a lot of the services, and I think that actually helps us keep our costs lower because we can rebid those contracts on a regular basis. But when it comes right down to it, we provide a lot of the same services that everybody, that's what a municipality does, is provide those public safety services, and everything from parks to fire to police to garbage to everything, building, code, all those services that a large municipality has. we do that as well. And we're fortunate to have the staff we do to accomplish that. So we do a lot, and it's good that but to the point of the residents that were here, it's critical to keep the costs under control, and that's what we're trying to do. I wanted to make one other comment about, and that is the TISDOR portion of it, and that is, Marty, I have a little bit of an issue with you when you say just a minor decrease to TISDOR. It's a 10% decrease to TISDOR, and that's significant. And so the thought process behind that is that our goal is always every year to have $450,000 go towards the project, the paving project in town. It seems like it's not a critical thing until it becomes a critical thing. The single largest liability that this town has is our roads. We are on a schedule to repave them about once every 25 years, and as most road engineers will tell you, they're probably 15 to 20 years is what they're good for. So we're already behind in maintaining them. And so allowing that to slip even further will not hurt us today. It will not hurt us tomorrow. It will hurt our kids. You know, we're leaving the burden for somebody else. And so it's critical for us to do our part and to keep up with it when it's not critical. And so what this decrease of $25,000 does is it brings it, as Marty said, from $495 down to $470. Still enough to cover our project of $450, but we have a deficit from previous years that we're hoping to repay to the town, and we're just going to have a smaller repayment this year than what we would like, but it's worth it to keep our millage in line, I believe. And but I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood what that project was and why it was important. Thank you.
Gary, you want to go next?
Yeah, just a couple comments. Based on everything I've seen and read and all the discussions that we've had, we gave the town administration a mission, and I think they have fulfilled that mission. We asked them to reduce it so that it's a level millage. We chopped a lot of projects. We kicked a lot of cans down the road. Some we didn't kick down the road because we knew it was a necessity, and I believe that they have accomplished the task that we set out to do. There might be still some minor tweaking here and there, but I don't see any main issues here. They did what we asked them to do, and they did it pretty well. And so I'm pretty confident in everything we're looking at here, and in full support of this. So I just want to mention that.
G, you good? Freddie? You good? Okay, I just want to add in a couple of things on this one. The staff has done a stupendous job on what we requested as far as getting these numbers back down to where we wanted them to be. This is the first reading on this basis. It's going to come back to us again. There are a couple of things that Marty and I ourselves are working on together that we're looking at, a possibility on some other stuff. So it may, as Gary said, may get a little additional tweaking. I don't see anything drastic. But I do see the possibility of some additional opportunities maybe to make a little savings along the way. But I just wanted to make that statement and have that out there for us. So done with that. If you call the question.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brickers,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Where are we next?
Okay, thank you. Back to our final presentation and first public hearing for our tentative budget, now that we've completed the millage portion. Our total proposed general fund revenues, $12,153,859. Our first graph shows where our funds come from, which is obviously ad valorem, our property tax revenue. Close to 50% is our ad valorem. works down to our special assessment, that's our fire special assessment, our franchise utility, and down in order of dollar value to the end, which concludes our interfund transfers and appropriated fund balance of $198,210. Most importantly, where do our funds go, our expenditures? And you will see that was mentioned tonight during all our rates and assessment hearings. The primary component is our public safety, police, fire, and fire rescue, $6,444,071. And that represents 53% of our total general fund budget going to public safety. General government, you'll see, it's a much less component, $2,269,603. And our third component, which are our governmental transfers, include our debt service, our capital projects, and includes our TISDOR at $2,084,633. The last three represents just our physical environment, community development, our pros, and community services portion. Our general budget assumptions have been, it's all a summary document. The goal was keeping our rates as low as possible while meeting our costs. No additional borrowing is being proposed. We utilize conservative projections of revenue and expenses. The importance is we're maintaining service levels while addressing council's policies as well as priorities. Our program modifications that are funded in our budget, and our budget, as we all know, has our funded and not funded items for anyone's reference. Our funded portions are our volunteer fire department safety equipment, the officer car replacement. That $38,447 is a contribution from our volunteer fire fund. So there's no millage impact or fire assessment impact for the officer car replacement for the volunteer fire department. We have a minor master deck, but very important hose gun replacement. Our communication equipment replacement upgrade, that is at $51,305. That was revised based on our budget workshop. Self-contained, our breathing apparatus replacement, anticipated $77,929, and that is net of our grant proceeds. If we don't receive the grant proceeds, that funds will be carried over till we do receive the grant award. Bunker gear replacement, $1,308. Technology replacement, $11,500. That's another item that was reduced. Our townwide vehicle replacement, $30,000. Finally, our quality of life service level improvements. We have our council chamber floor replacement of $15,000 budgeted, and our pros playground equipment maintenance item of $18,000. And all these items come back to council for final ratification approval after the formal procurement process. Moving to our capital improvement projects funded, we have 11 proposed. Our annual fire wells replacement and installation, $30,000. We're making progress. We've grouped them all in summary format. We're making excellent progress on our pros areas of Frontier Trails, Calusa Corners, Country Estates, and includes our new entranceway signage for our pros and townwide parks of $175,700. We also have numerous transportation projects, the total representing $1,800,510. And that includes our TISDOR, our guardrails, our drainage improvements, and the pavement striping and markers program. And just as a reminder, our TISDOR expenses do require funding separate from the regular operating millage. Finally, the last two items, we have Town Hall Complex Safety Lightning and Drainage of $12,500 proposed. And last but not least, a new Public Safety Fire Rescue Modular Facilities, $216,315. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Turn it over to council and to the public. Thank you.
All right. Is there a reso on this one or no? Because we didn't read it first.
Ordinance.
Okay. Want to read it?
An ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving the budget of the Town of Southwest Ranches for fiscal year 2017-18, commencing October 1st, 2017, and ending September 30th, 2018, providing for a budget basis, providing for expenditure of funds, providing for carryover funds, providing for notice, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
I make a motion. To approve.
Second?
Okay. Let's open it up to the public, please. And
Hi, John Eastman, 188th Avenue. You know, if I was sitting up there, I would sure make a lot of cuts to some of the stuff I just saw there. A lot of the gear and equipment for the volunteer fire department would be one of them. You know,
we're
almost
holding off on a lot of that if we don't get grants and stuff.
$80,000 for raincoats, you know, and these guys come and go like the wind, and they have to be custom fitted. You know, you buy a couple different sizes and leave them on the wall. The guy comes on shift, he finds the one that fits him. You know, you don't have to outfit everybody. You know about the radios and communication stuff. That's crazy. Several other areas that could be improved on there, but this replacing these modular units. You know, I came to you a couple of years ago. I said, we need to build a firehouse a little further west, a hardened structure. You see what happened in the Keys to every single mobile home down there, and that was a Cat 3 storm. So if we get a Cat 3 storm and you have a modular unit here, it's going to go bye-bye, and we're out $250,000. That money should be invested in a new hardened structure. Put it on the ballot in November. Let's have everybody approve it. Float a bond, build the station, and pay it off over 10 or 15 years. You know, we're way ahead, and we need to do it. We can have a custom station that fits our needs exactly. A place for the fire, have a place for the police, and then any other, you know, facilities we choose to put there. And there are properties available out on Griffin, you know it, you've all been out there. So let's make this happen. But I think it's a waste of money spending $250,000 on portables. And, you know, once you buy them, you can't get rid of them. They have no resale value. So, you know, what are we going to milk it another 10 years? But the first hurricane that comes, they go away, and then we have to spend the money again. Thanks.
Noah Hollingsworth. In the millage rate, you didn't say whether the millage was staying the same as last year. In this budget, is the millage rate staying the same for this budget, or is there an increase in the millage rate? Apples and oranges. Tisdor, at least the same, but you said, I saw the slide, says it's going down. But the regular millage rate, is it the same as last year? And that's a yes or no. And if it's no, you're raising it, that's because you're hiding the difference in the Tisdor decrease. That you are not supposed to do that. You were told by the residents at the budget workshop, no change in the rates. Not the combined rate change. The two
battery went dead. The battery went dead. Hold on. Anyone else? See no additional public comment. Public comment is closed. Back to us up here. Steve, go right ahead.
Thanks. The yes or no question, I forget whether I need to answer yes or no, but the bottom line is that the millage did go up from a budget standpoint. and it is being absorbed to some degree by the TISDOR. So that's the answer. It's not perfect to what we would like, but the bottom line was that, as Gary had mentioned, the mission to the administration was to keep the millage steady, and that is what we've done. The overall millage is what we did. And I also wanted to make a comment regarding the money for the modulars. I frankly agree with what John is saying. We have had, the modulars out there. We've been fortunate. We were fortunate in the past 7 days. We've been fortunate because those are old modulars that are not nearly as sturdy as the ones we'll be getting, and they were able to make it through this storm. How, I'm not exactly sure. So, John, you've got a valid point. And I also agree with you that, frankly, we are at a point now where we have to make this happen to find the land and to find a public safety building out west. We can't put it off anymore. We can't pretend like something is going to drop out of the sky and give it to us. It's up to us to make it happen. And frankly, I agree with you also that I think that we need to get something on the referendum for the funding portion of it to make it happen. We've already had conversations with administration and legal about options to negotiate on potentially on some different properties out west that are available, that are not built on yet, may or may not be for sale, to see what we can do to entice those folks to work with us to make something happen out there. So I think those were great points. I think it's things we got to do to make it happen. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Who's next? Dee?
No.
No, you're good. Freddie? No? Okay. A couple things on that one, John. I tell you, makes perfectly good sense. We need to do something. We got to do it soon. I would ask town attorney, how difficult is it to, if we find a place you want, they don't want to sell it, to take it through eminent domain. What's that process take these days?
I mean, it's very possible to do. You'd be out of your mind financially, but it's something that absolutely can be done. There's something called a quick take, that you could take something very quickly. Instead, there's other ways discussed with the vice mayor on how to handle it, and we're currently working on a meeting. Irma put a little bit of a wrench in it, but we are working through the process to try to bring it to fruition using other methods.
Okay. All right. I mean, the other thing is we do have our limitations on percentage of value of real estate. I'm paying not more than 10% on over.
Doesn't really work that way for eminent domain. The problem with eminent domain is highest and best use feasible for the property. So in the ranches, while we think the highest and best use is going to be residential, 1 unit per 2.5 acres, 2 net. I'm sure a resident, if we want to take their residential property, is going to say
Commercial.
that they are M4 zoning or commercial.
Yeah, right.
And that's why there's better ways of handling
Okay.
it. We're going to be working
All right.
that way.
Let me ask a question, jump in here.
Sure, go
real
ahead.
Quick. Andy or Keith can answer it. Does our contract with Davy have a time schedule on that on
We were required by contract to do the new modular building the next fiscal year. We continually tried to push it out, and they believed that our current building was so dilapidated that their union refused to even entertain the notion of going with the town next year unless we committed to the funds for the modular building. I know Andy has diligently worked to find a used modular building.
I think Rod, is there any update on that other one we were looking at?
We're not ready to present tonight, but we do have a solid plan that we are working on.
Okay.
We're just finalizing some of the numbers for
I
council.
heard
But
through
we've
the
got
grapevine that
we've
we
got
had
something that
maybe a
looks
better
good.
opportunity.
And just to
Yeah.
jump
Okay.
on
I
what
don't know
Keith
that
said, Davy Fire Rescue has some serious issues with that unit that's out there now. And
But we're
I'll
moving
let
forward
you
and
guys bring
working
your-
in the-
it-
in-
It's a problem, and it will not let, however we expedite
Right,
property acquisition.
Not
and
soon
building,
enough.
That unit will not last.
gotcha. Okay,
And I know that
Go ahead.
Andy's diligently working on that other opportunity. If it
Yep.
comes to fruition, everyone will be very happy with the outcome.
right. Okay, awesome. Okay, we did the public comment on that issue already, so call the question.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mayor, that completes everything that we have for this evening. I just want to thank you and the rest of the council for your cooperation and throughout this process. And obviously, we'll be back again in a couple of weeks for the second reading on the millage and the budget. We'll continue to talk about that as certainly other issues that you want us to look at.
And we have 20 minutes, or
Yeah.
actually 18
Our
minutes?
next meeting starts at 7:30, so you
Okay,
get a
so
2-minute
we
break.
got
Yes.
18 minutes, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody feel free to chill, socialize, browse, enjoy yourselves, and say hello.